I thought it might be helpful to someone if I made a video on how I change my rope seals in my fireplace. I have a RSF opal, and not that that would be a whole lot different than another fireplace or a wood stove. They're probably all pretty much the same when you're changing the rope seal. So the last time I did this, I made some tools to make the job easier, and I think they do. So let's have a look at that.
Fireplace doors here. One I've cleaned already. Let's have a look at the cleaning job. And all along here, you don't want to see any of that silicone left in here at all. And down here, that's all looking pretty clean. Now here's the next one we're going to do. And as you can see, it really is frayed and needs changing. So we're going to take a few shots of how I'm doing this, and we'll do that right now. What you get to do is get rid of the old one. So you may need a small screwdriver like this to kind of just pry one end up a little bit like that. And if you can get a hold of it and pull it out, that's great, but it's hard, so maybe a pair of pliers. And just pull it out. Once you get it going, you can grab a hold of it, okay? Might be a good idea to put one of these on. I see a lot of dust and not sure what those rope seals are made out of, but something fireproof. Hopefully not asbestos, but better to be safe. Okay, there it is. Sure needed replacing, didn't it? Now we've got all of this gunky stuff down in here. This is very hard to get out. Now, what I've done is I've take this out of the drill here. I made this up. This actually is a piece of carbide. It's got a sharp edge on it, and it's just about the right size to fit in this channel. And you could make that out of anything that you could harden. Maybe even get away without something that isn't hardened. Anyway, it really helps to get things started. You see that come off like that? We're getting a lot of it out here. We're zoomed in so you can get a better look at how that's working. And it just kind of peels it off, and you do get most of the pieces of gasket with it, leaving only some silicone in the bottom. And I think the reason we're leaving that in the bottom is that this channel isn't really perfectly round, whereas this is a lot closer to being perfectly round, and it doesn't quite get it all. I've done the best that I can do with that rotary tool. I made up this other little thing. It's just a stick with a carbide insert, an old one that was broken. And I'm just using it to loosen things up a little bit. And scrape around, get what you can out of there. Then we'll take that mess and vacuum it out of there. And we've still got quite a mess going on up there. The rest of this is, it's off cam down here, but the rest of this is a fairly good beginning. This whole process is not exactly easy. So my next step is to use a wire brush on this. Now you can use a handheld wire brush, but it takes a lot of effort and a lot of scraping and scratching and doesn't really work very well. So if you have something that'll hold a wire brush like this grinder, this works pretty good. I don't know how well you can see that, but let's see if we can zoom in a little bit on that. That does a pretty nice job. Now, if you get some tough spots, and we really haven't got one that looks too bad right now. It's a little blurry, but back up. If you have some tough spots, you can use some acetone. And what I've got is I happen to have a small syringe around, and that works great. It's got some acetone in it, and just put a little bit on there and let it soak in just for a minute or so. Not even that, because that stuff evaporates fairly quickly. I've got a small wire brush here that I can rub that with. And you can see the wire brush is actually taking some out of there. Let's see if we get the camera on target there. And after that's been in there, you can go over it again with this. That acetone, I think, helps a little bit to loosen it up and get it out of there. So I'm going to finish the rest of this off camera, and we'll proceed then to put the rope seal in with the silicone. Forgot, on the other side of that door we were just working on, we have this seal that seals against the other door when things are closed up. So I'm use a little smaller pair of pliers and try to get that off. Get the screwdriver again. I think if you just get these things started a little bit, that you can pull them off, okay? Well, that's not going to work. Maybe we'll try from the other end. Now, I did get in there with the screwdriver and got a little bit more of a start on this end. See if we can get it with this small pliers. Yeah. And now my rotary tool is not going to fit in here. I don't know if this one will. Okay, try the wire wheel on this here. This seems to be a lot worse than the other one. I'm going to give it a shot of solvent here, acetone. Oh, lay quite a bit in there if we can. That looks like we ran out towards the end here. And just scrape that around a little bit with this hand wire brush. Try to get it seated in a little bit here. And we'll give it another shot with the wire brush here. And it's still not all out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak that a little bit more with some acetone, and we'll see how that works. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes since I put the acetone on there. I'm going to give it another shot here. Alright, I scraped at it with a small screwdriver, like that, and I got a lot of it out. I think one more pass with the wire brush and we'll get that out. Just a couple of little spots left in there right now. Actually, probably good enough right now, but if they can come out, better they come out. That's looking good. I like that. I thought it'd be a good idea to put the door meeting gasket, whatever you want to call it, the small gasket that goes in here. Be a good idea to do that first, because I can put that in and glue it in, and when I turn this over and lay it down on the other side, because of this recess here, there won't be anything disturbing it. So there's plenty here that they gave me in the kit, so I'm going to leave a little bit hanging over at one end and take it down to the other, and I think I should be able to cut that off pretty easy, anything that's overhanging, after I'm finished. So I have a tube of stuff here. That's about 10 years old, but it looks just fine, and I don't think it has an expiry date. So I'm going to try to... Now we're ready to do the other side here. And this stuff is clear stuff. The other stuff was red. And they say a 1/4 inch bead all the way along. Oh, it is red. Just the first little bit came out kind of clear. And this is a little bit time consuming. And maybe we'll just stop here and stop the video and finish up so we don't waste your time watching what happens there. Well, the camera battery went dead on me. We missed the very end of that, but I did use the older tube. It didn't take very much. And that leaves me with this nice tube here with a little point on it to do the other sides with the larger rope seals. So when I pushed this gently into the groove, it did squish some out and made a little bit of mess on this side and down here. And I took a toothpick and just ran it along the edge here and cleaned that up and wiped it off on a rag. And the same with this, I just kind of went along like that. And right now all that remains is to snip this off here. And over here, and that looks pretty good. So I'll be able to turn that over now and actually do the other side here. Well, before you put the glue in there, it's a good idea to lay your rope seal in first and make sure that you've got enough, and then you can cut it off and proceed to put the glue in there and then put this on. Well, I guess that's all there is to that. That went in pretty easy, and I can trim the ends off with a pair of scissors. And we'll be done. And they do say, leave it sit before installing it back in the fireplace and closing the doors or lighting a fire. Leave it sit for 24 hours, which I'm going to do. And I'll just trim this off with a pair of scissors, and the same for that end, and that door is done. Silicone applied to that second door. And what I did this time to avoid fraying, I took this end, which looks somewhat like that end, and I pushed all this stuff inside. I used a little pencil to push it inside there. So now we'll lay this one in. You want to be careful not to stretch this when you're putting it in. Just leave it loose, it's going to seal better. And once it's in there, we're going to be good to go. I'll try leaving this end just like it is here. We'll see how that works when it goes in the fireplace. This end I'm going to have to cut it off. Maybe I'll be able to push the excess also inside here so that it looks as nice as that end.